Brady Miller here with goHUNT, and today I'm going to walk through the process that I do when I clean a rifle. Now, a little disclaimer before I start, there is 1,000 different ways to clean a rifle. This is just what's worked well for me, my family over the years, so the steps I run. For more detailed information about this whole process, there'll be a link down below for an article. Check that out as well, a bunch of pictures, descriptions, and yeah, let's get right into it. So first off, I like to mount a rifle in a little gun vise, just helps keep things simple. You could use your bipod on the back of a tailgate of your truck if you're out shooting, that sort of thing, but for this purpose, we'll use this little gun vise. And the first step is going to be removing the bolt here. As always, make sure the gun's unloaded. It doesn't have to be unloaded to clean it. So, also like to keep a scope cover to protect the scope. This is going to prevent you from, when you have a brush in here, pull it back out, so you don't run and stab back in your scope, damage things, get a bunch of those cleaning solvents on there. So, good idea to keep that protected. And then if you do have a muzzle brake on the end of your gun, you're going to want to remove that. Just kind of makes things a little easier. You can clean it with the muzzle brake, but just removing it's a good thing. And you can actually see inside there how clean the barrel's getting. A little bit of information on the cleaning tools I'm going to be using. I prefer to use all aluminum jags or stainless steel jags. This is just going to be a great way to eliminate copper fouling, because if you have some brass jags, they're just going to end up leading to some false positives on your cleaning. Another thing right here is really an essential piece of equipment is a bore guide. Basically what this is going to do is go inside the action, and it prevents all the solvents from leaking back into the action when you're cleaning it. You want to keep all the solvents on the barrel side of it. You don't want any dropping down into your action here. Basically just push this in, has little O-rings on it, and then you move this little tool over and then tighten it down. So now when you clean it, you could enter in your solvents on this back end. Right here's a little port for it, but I normally just add all the solvents on the barrel end just so I don't get anything back here. And if you have a nice stock and you actually want to protect it, another good tip to use is like an old rag. Take an old rag, throw it in the back of your stock here, that would prevent all the solvents from leaking on your stock and maybe discoloring it. So the first step, I'm just going to take my little aluminum jag here, and also ensure that you have the right size jags for the rifle you're doing. This is a 300 Win mag, so I have 30 cal jags here and 30 cal nylon brush. And then also make sure you have patches that are sized for your rifle. Just helps make it so you don't have to push through really hard, and it just makes things a lot easier. I'm a big fan of these round ones. You can pick them up anywhere. And so the first step here, I'm just going to add some carbon remover. Basically what the carbon remover and this patch is going to do is help basically get a bunch of the big gunk out first before I go and run a brush through. So a few drops on there. And as you can see, we have a ton of gunk on here from a full season unit. So I guess a little quick thing I can talk about too is I like a one-piece cleaning rod. This has a nylon coated, so it doesn't have little breaks in the middle of it, which if you have some sort of metal material, those little dings in there, if they have a little burr on it, it could damage inside your barrel. So just make sure you have a one-piece cleaning rod. Again, it's for a 30 cal. I'm just going to take a couple more patches through here with the carbon remover. Next up, I'm going to roll right into starting to brush all this out. And like I mentioned before, I'm using a nylon brush. You could use, I just like it because I can actually work forward and backwards inside the barrel. But if you have a like a bronze type brush, like a wire brush, you really don't want to be going back and forth inside the barrel. You want to go one straight pass through and then come back. With the nylon brush allows me to clean it, and a little less abrasive too. So what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to push the brush through once, because like I said, you could add the solvents in the back, but I like to add the solvents on the front side of it. And now basically I'm going to run this through 30, 50, 60 times. Basically run it through like you're brushing your teeth in a way. Just keep pulling it back and forth, try to remove all this solvent. A lot of times what you might want to do too is check to make sure your brush is tight on the end of your barrel. A lot of times it'll start getting loose. You could take a little bit of wax, add a little bit of wax to the end of it, the threads, kind of helps hold everything together. Now I'm just going to remove it on this end. Take our brush off. I'm going to add back on the stainless steel jag. Now I'm just going to run a couple dry patches down through it. As you can see here, this is the first round of carbon removal. Still pretty dirty. So now I'm going to continue with my carbon removal. Just another 30-60 brushes. Another thing to watch out for too is I see I'm adding solvents to it and it's dropping down on the table. You could have another cloth there too if you want to protect your table. Just finished up the second round of removing carbon. The brush, so now I'm going to add a couple dry patches again. As you can see, getting a little cleaner. So what we're doing now is reattach the brush, and then we're going to start doing some of the copper removal process. And when we're doing the copper removal process, eventually you'll be able to see there's going to be like a brownish tint in your barrel, and that's going to let you know how much copper you have left to remove. So we're going to be able to run the brush through there a bunch of times and remove that copper. A lot of copper will be built up here at the end of the barrel. You'll also be able to tell if you have a lot of copper on the end because it'll be like a bluish green sort of color on your patches. Again, we're going to go back through and brush it 30 to 60 sometimes. Switching back to the jag again, run a couple dry patches through. Just going to check out our copper fouling situation. Still a lot of brownish, possibly copper on the end of the barrel. Another thing you can do too is visually inspect the end of the barrel. Yeah, we got a bunch of copper still in there. All right, I'm going to remove again. Check out our copper situation. Still really dirty. Yeah, so right now I'm on the third process of brushing it with the copper remover. And basically I'm just gonna keep brushing it till I got no more copper fall on the end and until I got some slightly better clean patches. It's a long process, but it'll actually work and get the barrel nice and clean. This gun hasn't been cleaned all season, so it's definitely due for good cleaning. All right, so I've been at this for a while now. As you can see, started off with carbon remover on the brush. Did that a bunch of times, 50, 60, multiple times of that. Ran a couple dry patches. Then we switched over to copper remover. And this is the process took a little longer to remove some of the copper fouling that had in the end of the barrel because I haven't been cleaned in a while. And now we should be on the last round of running a dry patch. So I just finished up with the copper. Put a dry patch on, we'll run it through. And that's what we're looking for right there. Here's we got pretty much perfectly clean patch. All the copper fouling has been removed. A little bit more copper fouling in the barrel. Now what I'm going to do is just pull her back. Just going to clean off one more time. Now we're going to switch to putting a few drops of gun oil on there. What this is going to help do is just kind of condition, season the barrel a little bit. You don't have to go overboard with this stuff either. A few drops. Now we're going to kind of run it back and forth in the barrel. Kind of just coat the whole barrel with this gun oil. Try to work the end of the barrel a little bit. I got it coated with gun oil. The next step we're going to do is just run 2 dry patches down it, and then everything should be clean. And after that, the next step would only be to take it on the field and take a follow shot for actually shoot for groups or actually go hunting. So I was going to have a follow shot down there. So now following it up with gun oil with a dry patch in the barrel. And again, it should be very, very clean, so that little gun oil residue on there. I'm just going to run it one more time for a good measure. Another little tip to watch out for too, end of the barrel, you kind of don't want to be pushing these things too far forward all the time. I'm just going to stop there and watch out when you pull them back through so you don't ding up the crown of barrel tip. That's why a lot of times you can clean with the muzzle brake on. It'll help prevent you dinging the crown. So that is the entire steps, A to Z, on how to clean a gun. Basically cleaning the gun is you don't have to clean it too much. Good rule of thumb is maybe every 50, 60 rounds you can kind of clean your gun, or depending on what it likes to shoot. If you all of a sudden shooting a bunch and you see that 20 shots, your group starts to spray, you might want to clean your gun. So that's it. Thanks again for watching the video. As always, have any questions, comments, leave them down below. Like this video, drop us a little subscribe, and we'll see you next time.